Hey there, Tubies. It's Aisha. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. We're wrapping up September 2019, and these are some of my reads. Let's get started. And I started some series, caught up on some series, and had a fantastic reading month. I did not read as much as I normally read. I read 11 books this month, which is better than I've been feeling like I've been reading, but most of my books this month have been 4- and 5-star reads. Another contemporary read for this month was Black Tie Billionaire by Naima Simone. This is the second book in the Blackout series that she's doing in Chicago. I absolutely loved it. This is another interracial romance. Thoroughly enjoyed this. I gave this one 4.5 stars. This one was extremely good. I'm doing a full review on this one as well as her first book. But Naima writes enthusiastic, out of this world consent that is garnered in the middle of, steamy, out of this world, about to be backbreaking sex. And she manages to not make it awkward, corny, or disruptive for the character to get consent and I absolutely loved it. I love her writing, and I absolutely loved the way he approached her. Just fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. Naima Simone is now on my auto-buy list. Definitely. Then I dived into some paranormal. I started the month by reading Dark Illusion by Christine Feehan. I do have a video review for this. I had to record it like twice because I just gushed. So I had to calm myself down, take a few breaths, and then come back. This is book 29 in the Carpathian series. I've been reading this series for years. Several years. They've been 6 other series that have been spawned, not so much in this world, but by this world. Since she started writing, she's spawned 6 other series. And I have them all. I have read only this one completely, and the Shadow Rider series completely. Dark Illusion was a fantastic addition to the series. This book clearly shows that she is listening to the critiques of her fans, as well as those who may not like her, and taking them into consideration in writing the characters, particularly the male characters. She's stopped writing women who weren't, she's always written women who were strong, but she wrote women who were sometimes afraid of the power that they had or afraid of their mates, and she's written mates that are now worthy of the women that they had. Some of the men were kind of sketchy. If you really, I've written some critiques where I was not happy with the male characters. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait for the next story, the next 2-3 stories. I just know it's going to get good. So in this world, these people are very much like vampires, but they're where vampires spawn from. When someone gives up their soul, they become a vampire. As you can see, I'm going to gush about my non-contemporaries. I do have a full review coming for this, but if you've not read the Dark Carpathian series, I highly recommend it. If you love paranormal, there are some books that I love more than others. There are some books that definitely have made me cry. Some books I've hated. But this one was definitely one of the most highest rated ones. Actually, no, I have some 5-star rated ones in there. This one was 4.75. I didn't cry reading this. I didn't get all the emotions reading this, but I loved this one. Absolutely loved. The balance has been struck now between the progression. Excuse me, I'm still recovering from an ear infection, so my voice may be lower than normal, and I'm kind of shouting. It sounds like I'm shouting to myself. I don't know if you're hearing it. And I'm like struggling to breathe because one nostril is closed, because you know ear infections shut everything down. Full on sinus infection. Not that you needed to know all of that, but excuse me. But yes, absolutely love this. Thoroughly enjoyed this series. I highly recommend it. If you love paranormal, as I said, she finally managed to strike a balance between progressing the overall arcing story as well as sharing the personal stories of the two characters that are advancing. Really wish this is your world, but if you could make a series where this, or I guess it will always be heteronormative, but if you could make it where like there would be more than one mate for a person, I love my polyamory stories. Then I started the Shadow Chaser series by Cerisa Glass, and then promptly went online. I'd already been following her because I bought these years ago and saw that LA Banks, blurbed this. So I immediately followed her on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and wherever else I can follow her. And when I was done with LA Banks's books, I needed something else, and there didn't seem to be a lot out there. And then I found these. And I'm kind of mad at myself that I didn't read these sooner. But I'm also kind of glad that I waited, because now, after I finished reading this, I jumped on Twitter and was like, oh my God, when's the next one? And she said that there's a novella coming out in November, which I'm going to pre-order as soon as I find out what the links are and all that info. So this is a Shadow Chaser series, which I will be doing a individual book review as well as a series review on. But let me just tell you, as a person who originally intended to go into archaeology and anthropology as my major, I've talked about this in several videos. Egypt and Native American studies were my two high contenders, and she's an Egyptologist, and she's Black, and she's paranormal, and I freaking loved it. This series centers around Kira, who is an Egyptologist who has the ability to read the information on things she touches. So she cannot be touched by your average everyday person, which is sucky because humans need touch. It's how we survive. It's how we live. You can literally fail to thrive by not getting human touch. But her ability allows her to read people. And one of the reason she can't touch people is when she reads them, she takes their life essence. So what makes her a good Egyptologist, because she can read the artifacts and know the actual history of things, makes her a bad friend because she can't touch you because she will literally kill you. But Kira's job is to help keep the balance between light and dark. Kira is a devotee of the goddess Mahat, who is the goddess of truth in the Egyptian pantheon. And I absolutely fell in love. I can't even begin to tell you how this series, just like LA Banks series, matters so much to me. But unlike the LA Banks series, which is very highly influenced by Judeo-Christian pantheon and Judeo-Christian theories and theologies and belief, this is all Egypt and Nubia and West Africa. This is everything my little heart, my little pagan heart desires. I love it. Absolutely love it. All of them received 4 stars. I didn't cry on any of them, so I couldn't give them 5 stars, but all the emotions were there. I was in there. I was devoted. Listen, I read these in 3 days. Okay? Shadowblade is the first one. I read that as an ebook through my Scribd subscription, and then I read these 2, and I devoured them. I probably should upgrade it to 5. Yeah, I probably will upgrade them to 5. I was absolutely addicted to these. I couldn't stop reading. I read Shadowblade and was like, oh, I gotta read the next one. And then I dived right in. I loved these. It is so important that people see our history beyond the concept and idea of we're just slaves. Like, Black history doesn't start with slavery, it goes beyond that. And this shares that, and it goes beyond Judeo-Christian tenets. This shares that, and I freaking loved it. Absolutely loved it. Especially because we get a glimpse of in here it says Candake, and I've seen it since, I've seen it spelled as Candace, Aramanitas. So we learn about her in the third book, and right after, I started seeing things about her on YouTube, and things I started looking up on history. So I started learning even more than I thought I knew, which is always great. When your books make you learn, the history buff in me was freaking just amazing. I will be doing gush-worthy videos all over. And another series that I picked up and completely caught up on. So we're completely caught up on the Shadow Chaser series until she comes out with a new book and a new novella, which comes out next month. I also caught up on Magazine. So I have 3 of the books on my physical shelf, 1 of the ebooks I owned. Actually, both ebooks I owned in ebook form, obviously. So there are 5 books so far that I've read. There are 2 more to get, but I'm moving, so I'm not allowed to buy any books for a while. But that's okay, because I've been reading like crazy. So we will start the series with Sleep with the Lights On by Maggie Shane. This is a series where this series is so good. So this series really starts off with a blind young woman looking for her brother. We actually start off with a serial killer who is dumping the body of one of his latest victims. Then we jump to this young woman, Rachel, who is looking for her brother, and she knows she's not being taken seriously because she's blind, and she's pissed about it. And she walks out into the middle of the road and gets hit by this cop, Mr. Brown. And then we just roll from there. She gets the opportunity to get a pair of eyes, and when she does, they come with an extra surprise. There are documented cases of people who get body parts from cadavers and then develop new likes and dislikes, and have moments of deja vu and things, and they're talked about in here. So this kickstarts the story of Brown and DeLuca, Detective Brown and Rachel DeLuca, who is a new age guru who truly doesn't believe in all the things that she says, but she's selling it and she's good at it. And now they're on the case of a serial killer who seems to be killing from the grave. The next one was Dream of Danger, which is a 1.5, which is a snippet of a case that we eventually get to in another book, but it's basically a quick snippet of a case in between books, where Rachel's assistant, Amy, gets kidnapped, and it's their job to help quickly find her before the case becomes something bigger. Then we have Wake to Darkness, which is book 2. Also read that one in ebook from the library. I own it, and then I didn't realize that I owned it, so I borrowed it from the library. Then afterwards, I was like, wait a minute, I actually own this already. Things you do when you own too many books on Kindle. So Wake to Darkness is book 2. That is another case where they're trying to learn whether or not they want to date each other, and they're trying to, and I meant to say that these 2 series both had slow burns in there, and I absolutely friggin' loved them. I normally hate slow burns, but they had slow burns in them, and I really enjoyed them. And I really like Rachel's voice because she is new agey, but she's not like airy fairy new agey. Like, she really thinks that she's way more cynical than she is, and I love her. I absolutely love her. So Innocent Prey is the um, kidnapping story from the 1.5 gets picked up here. And then Deadly Obsession is someone develops an obsession on Detective Brown because they saw him commit an act of heroism, or heroism, however you say it, and they become obsessed, and they decide that everybody in his life needs to leave so that he will turn to them. But yes, really enjoyed these. I gobbled these up this weekend. I was sick, stuck in bed, and I read Wake to Darkness, Deadly Obsession, and Innocent Prey. So I read 3 books in the weekend. So the final book I read for the month was A Prince on Paper by Alyssa Cole. This one got 5 stars out of me. I've mentioned before that 5 stars for me is something that draws me in so much and is so emotive that I yell at the book, talk to the book, cry from the book, laugh from the book. Like, all the emotions come out, and this one was definitely that for me. I am doing a full review on the series so far, as well as each individual book, so I'm not going to go further into this one. But this one is the 3rd book, but it's like the 5th story. This is Mia, the cousin of Naledi. I know I'm saying her name wrong. Or Letty, from the 1st book. This is her story, as well as the prince, who's not really a prince, who kind of reminds me of Prince Harry. I really enjoyed him. I thought this was a fantastic story. They were a great couple to read. Highly recommend it. 5 stars. Had a good reading month. I mean, the last few days, or what really, like, this last week of the month has been what's been really kick-ass. I kind of had a hangover from Dark Illusion because just so much happened, and I wanted so much more, and I want the next book, and I know it's going to be a year, and it's devastating. But those are my 11 reads for the month. As I said, I had a fantastic reading month of 4 stars or better. I did not rate anything less than 4 stars this month. I will be doing reviews for a lot of them. I'm just looking at admiring all the things I read. I read, other than these 3, everything else I read has been books off my shelf. These I bought in 2019, and this was a pre-order. It came out in September. But yeah, I'm really, really proud of myself. So yeah, that's what I read this month. What did you read? Let me know if you've read any of these and want to talk in the comments about them. Let's not do any spoilers though. Full reviews will be coming up throughout the month. Let me know what you've read or wish to read. If you read any books by any of these authors or want to recommend any series that you think I would absolutely love, leave it in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. So, I also read the Shadow series. So then I picked up the Shadow Chaser. What?